everyone, my name is Morgan McMillan. I am the Associate Director of the Office of Financial Wellness and Education, or the MoneySmarts program, as you're probably more familiar with us.
Hello everyone, my name is Adlin Iskandar. I am MoneySmarts Special Project Manager. Nice to meet you all.
So for those of you that don't know what MoneySmarts is, could you guys explain a little bit more about your program and what services you guys offer to students?
Sure. Adlin, do you want to start with this one?
Yeah, sure. So MoneySmarts is actually a program under IU Office of Financial Wellness and Education. It's a financial wellness program that offers free services to all IU students, faculty, and staff on all IU campuses. So we primarily help the IU community through one-on-one appointment, free and confidential one-on-one appointment, helping them in money management issues. We also offer group presentation to any groups who are interested to learn about budgeting, credit, or life after IU.
Yeah, she covered the majority of it. The only thing I would add is that we have a wealth of resources on our website. We've got podcasts, we've got different things that you can just read and review. We have MoneySmarts U that a lot of students may already be familiar with from orientation and seeing it pop up on their Canvas page. That is kind of like an on-demand video platform to kind of get you thinking about different financial concepts. And if it's not already on your Canvas, you can access it from our website under courses. We've got a cost calculator that can help you think about the future expenses that you may have as it relates to tuition and fees and your personal expenses as well. So a lot of really awesome resources just on our website too.
Awesome, thank you. So for the typical undergrad student that might be just starting to think about, how to plan out your savings, how to plan out your budget, what are some of the first steps you would recommend they start with?
I can take this one to start. So it's funny that you say typical undergrad, right? Because I don't know that there is a such thing as a typical student, which is often why it's a little challenging to say, here's some general financial information that you'll want to consider. But we know that students, whether you're working or not, access to income is probably relatively limited. If you have family support, that might be something where you see a little bit more coming in. And so in terms of thinking about managing that, there's a lot of different tools out there that can help if you've ever tried a budgeting app or if you've ever tried budgeting for yourself, kind of like pen to paper or using an Excel spreadsheet. But it's really hard to say, like, let's jump in with a budget if it feels like, wait, what am I budgeting for? I'm trying to save, but I don't know. Is this useful? I looked at the budgeting app and it looks helpful. I don't know where it's taking me. So our number one recommendation is that if you need a place to start, come in and schedule an appointment with us. We're always happy to kind of sit down and talk about your habits and what feels important to you in the given moment and help you kind of develop a plan for yourself step by step. And you can always come back and we can revisit it and see where you are in a couple of weeks. So those are the first things that I'm thinking of. Adlin, is there anything that you're thinking?
You already covered most of it.
Well, there we go.
Beautiful. So maybe could we go to what are some of your top money saving tips for students? And Adlin, you mentioned, I think, would you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So top money savings, right? It's going to depend on individuals' financial goals and their life goals. For some people, if their social life is important to them, however it's going to look like during this pandemic, some sort of finances or money might be associated with that. So you want to make sure that you budget it for that social life that you have, because every time when it comes to non-money saving attitudes and behaviors, it's because people don't plan for it in advance. So it just become an unexpected expenses. So I would say identify what is important in your life, are there social goals, any academic goals that you have, or are you looking forward to like investment or something like that? Make sure that you budget for it in advance.
That's great advice. And I guess one last question based on that. Have you guys noticed any common attitudes, or yeah, I guess attitudes would be the word for it. Any common attitudes that students have towards money that are actually detrimental towards money or budgeting? So common attitudes or mindsets that we as students should try to change.
Yeah, I can start with that one. I think it's pretty common to feel really defeated when it comes to thinking about money in general. Whether you grew up in a household that talked about money all the time and you're sick of talking about it, or maybe in your household, no one ever talked to you about money. And so you're trying to navigate it on your own for the first time. And it feels like, I don't necessarily feel like I know what I'm doing. All of that can be really challenging. Or, just, hey, I'm just starting college and I'm trying to find a way to become a little bit more financially independent. And I have no clue where to start. Those are some of the more common things that we hear. And I think one of the first recommendations that we have, besides scheduling a one-on-one with a member of our team, to talk about kind of what your plans are, what your goals are, where you'd like to go, we also have a really awesome resource on our team, and that's our well-being consultant. Our well-being consultant is one person who's on our team whose sole job is to talk to you about how finances are affecting you. And it doesn't have to be anything negative. It could be one of those things where you're like, I'm just trying to figure it out, and it feels like a lot. How do I navigate all of the different things that I'm feeling? Or I just moved in with roommates for the first time and talking about money is really uncomfortable. How do we do that? Or I want to talk to my family more about money and feel like I need some assistance just navigating through those conversations. Our well-being consultant is here just to talk through not necessarily the budgeting aspect and the money management day to day, but just your overall sense of how you're connecting to your finances, and how it's affecting your overall sense of wellness. And whether you feel like you have a really healthy relationship with money, you save, you're really proud of the choices that you make, or you feel like, money, I don't know. She's here to help. So that's another really great resource. And if you're looking to schedule an appointment with her, well, email addresses are all over our website, but you'll have to reach out to her individually, or we can contact her on your behalf if you reach out to anyone on the team, so that you can get scheduled with her.
Yeah. Another tip for me is that, I mentioned earlier about budgeting for your expenses in advance, right? And our peer financial educators can help you with that. But one thing that I would like to emphasize is that, especially for those who only or just started budgeting, it can be overwhelming to do everything all at once. So that's why we always encourage our students to just focus on one specific category that they want to focus on. For example, some people want to manage their food expenses. So what do you mean by food? Grocery, eating out. So maybe less eating out and more groceries. So make sure that you focus only on that, so you don't overwhelm yourself. And also you know specifically what your goal is to keep you motivated. Because budgeting is not a one-time thing. You don't see results in a short period of time. So it's always good to reevaluate your goals in order to make sure you always have that motivation to stick to your budgeting.
I would add to that too. I think a lot of people might be hesitant, like, is MoneySmarts the right place for me to come if I have questions? Well, we mentioned budgeting quite a bit. It's a really common first step for a lot of people, but budgeting does not work for everyone. There are a ton of different strategies that may be out there, and we can help you identify that just based on where you want to go, what you're looking to do, and where you feel like you might need help.
Awesome. Those are great answers. I guess, can I ask one more question? And this may not be in the video depending on the length, but I guess for Adlene, since you're a student, do you regularly set aside time, like maybe once a month or once every few weeks, to actually like look at your finances and plan out your budget? Or like how do you, in your busy schedule with everything going on, how do you like set aside that chunk of time?
Yeah, sure. So the way that I do it is every time I receive my paycheck, right? I look at my past expenses and then project forecast it to my next month's expenses. So I know if I reach this limit, I am already gone past the amount of expenses that I spent for this specific category for last month. So the way that I do it is set a limit for every expenses of every categories of expenses in my budgeting. Again, it differs on everybody. I've been doing this for 2-3 years now. So for those who are already getting started, focus on one specific category.
Thank you. All right, I guess that's it for me. Unless there's anything else that you want to talk about that you feel like I haven't covered. Any last?
I might add, so something that we were talking about before we started recording was like quick money saving tips. And I admitted, I was like, I don't know that I have any generic money saving tips because it sort of depends on your circumstances. But I thought I would throw this kind of out there as a suggestion. I know that everyone is tired of Zoom. and as much as virtual connection keeps us together and those kinds of things, we're always looking for ways to still make sure that we are spending time with family and friends and important people in our lives. And so if you are looking for money saving tips, I think that the pandemic, is as horrible as it is, has presented some opportunities for us to find ways to do things by reducing our social expenses. And so if you are able to get together, whether it is via Zoom or in person with just a couple people or something like that, cooking a meal together can be something that's really helpful. Something I did when I was in grad school, I used to buy those like giant bags of frozen stir fry. And I would have a couple friends come over, pop it in the pan and maybe add some ramen noodles or something to it, and then we'd have enough, to eat for 4 people or whatever. Or we'd make a pizza together. And going to the movies, that used to be a really popular thing, but it was also kind of pricey. So renting a movie for $2 or $3 on Amazon, especially if you're really trying to do something different or see something new, that can be a low-cost expense. Or having game night in person with a couple people, that can be really helpful as well, particularly if you've got board games that you love or you're looking for ways to turn your board games into virtual games. All of those can be really helpful tools as well. But trying to find ways to continue to connect with people and save money, whether it's on food or social expenses, all of those things hopefully can be really helpful for whatever your financial situation looks like.